Hello, and welcome to The Picture, a Koch Industries Spotlight series offering a look at the transformational and inspirational stories happening right here in Wichita. I'm Melissa Scheffler. Botanica has been a special place in our community since 1987. Koch Industries and the Koch Family Foundation are happy to support its growth as one of the top-rated attractions in the state, with more than 200,000 visitors each year. In fact, its annual Illuminations light display recently made USA Today's top 10 for the best botanical garden holiday lights. In today's episode of The Picture, you'll see how Botanica has now expanded to include art, family-friendly attractions, and events. Botanica's transformation began with Executive Director Marty Miller, who went through a significant transformation of his own. His background?
Economic development and finance.
With no gardening knowledge, Botanica seemed to be an unlikely career path.
They asked me that question, well, give us some reasons we ought to hire you. And you know, my answer was, I'll give you some reasons not to hire me. I said, the organization has to change because it's not growing. And I said, if you don't want change, don't hire me.
It was Marty's transformative mindset that helped him get the job and reinvent Botanica.
I said, we have to change the demographics. So our first garden that we added was a children's garden. We planted all these different flowers that keep reblooming and reblooming and reblooming, so every once in a while they walk out with flowers or whatever. It's made for kids. And when you walk under that rainbow, you become a kid again.
The children's garden is a favorite to many, including longtime volunteer Janie Lang. Like Marty, Janie has a unique background. For 30 years, she ran a school in the Caribbean before moving to Wichita.
Children have always been important to me. There's so many different things kids can experience tactically and visually.
Janie has volunteered at Botanica for 10 years and has witnessed Botanica's growth over the past decade.
We were 14 acres when I started. We're 20 now with the addition of the Koch Gardens.
So now we have a lot of young families come in here, and that garden was the catalyst that changed this organization and this garden into be one of the #1 attractions in Kansas. They bring their children here to introduce them to the butterflies, introduce them to the plants, introduce them to water. People get engaged here, people get married here, and their celebrations of life are here. We do the entire circle of life with families here at this garden.
For those wanting a more hands-on experience at the gardens, there are plenty of volunteer opportunities.
This is the place to be. And here when you volunteer, you can choose what you want to do. Gardening's not the only thing. There are hundreds of other jobs.
This is a good place to come. It's beautiful. Not only beautiful, it puts everybody in a good mood.
Because it's gorgeous and it's different. It's not like any garden I've ever been in. And it's a community.
Botanica has undergone plenty of modern upgrades, but it's also home to a piece of Wichita history that's a source of childhood memories for many and is sure to create plenty of new ones for visitors today. We'll take you for a spin when we come back. Koch Carousel Gardens wouldn't be what it is today without the Koch family carousel. Following its restoration, Koch was happy to come along and support the further development of Koch Carousel Gardens, a place that offers experiences unlike anything else in Wichita. This carousel gave countless rides and memories to Wichitans during its 55 years at Joyland, a beloved former Wichita amusement park. Thanks to the Koch family's generous donation, along with architect Dan Wilson and his team, the restored carousel will continue to be a source of joy for years to come.
We initially had a workshop in my office to kind of kick this thing off with Connie and Marley and Irvin, who did the horses.
Dan was in charge of the hardware, while Connie or Nat brought her artistic eye to the intricate details.
What I do as an art consultant here is I'm looking for a space that needs something. So, because art can solve a lot of problems.
Both Connie and Dan, along with tremendous support from the community, made Koch Carousel Gardens a reality.
What was amazing to me was the way people stepped up. We got a lot of people involved. There were thousands of hours given to this project, thousands.
Connie and Dan wanted to give the carousel a fresh update while maintaining its nostalgic charm.
The jewel in a jewel box phrase was derived, and it kind of set a tone for me. It had to be classy.
It's very elegant and subtle and muted colors, and it lets the flowers around it really shine.
While the Kecha Carousel is the centerpiece of Koch Carousel Gardens, there's plenty more for guests to see and experience.
I like hidden surprises, and so that's where the troll came in, and he's a mountain troll. Mountain trolls, they sleep all day long, and so kids can play on him.
The stage is actually the last project that was completed. It can really handle anything from, just a 5 or 6 person band to the Wichita Symphony. There'll be a lot of kind of event space that overlooks the Grand Lawn. Of course, the Grand Lawn itself has a lot of flexibility to it. I mean, you could do hot air balloons off of it if you wanted. There will be some more stuff for kids. I mean, we've been looking at a Tom Sawyer's little pond that has some rafting and some things like that, and slides and unique slides. It's a total experience.
What do you think, or what goes through your mind when you see people enjoying this?
I love watching people, watch kids ride this thing. My grandkids, for instance, certainly have ridden it several times, and to watch their faces and the smiles that come with all of that is amazing.
Koch Industries celebrates places like Botanica that make Wichita a great city to live and work in. When we return, we'll sit down with Liz Koch and talk about the Koch's latest gift to the gardens. In addition to the restored carousel, enchanting displays, and impressive art, Koch Carousel Gardens has a brand new work of art gifted by Liz and Charles Koch. Let's take a look at the big reveal. Liz Koch holds a deep appreciation for Botanica because it's one of the many places that make Wichita a flourishing place to live and work.
I'm spellbound by what Botanica means to the community. And I think that's why I really wanted to do what we're doing at Botanica. It just seemed to me that we could stretch and we could put in one more dimension into Botanica, and that would be a beautiful piece of art.
She's also a big fan of John Ernat, the sculptor who created Botanica's newest work of art.
Art is, and the beauty of it is the eye of the beholder, but there's just something about John's style that fits me.
John Ernat's name may sound familiar. We just spoke to his wife, Connie Ernat, who helped restore the carousel. Together, they came up with a new sculpture.
Connie kind of proposed it to a few people, and slowly it kind of got worked down that a sculpture would be appropriate.
A year and a half later, that sculpture, titled The Attendant 1923, was revealed at a special event at Koch Carousel Gardens. While art is something you're usually not supposed to touch, John wants people to feel it. Literally.
There's some sculpture gardens where you're not supposed to touch. And I always think that's tragic because you see those bronzes that are in the public square that everybody touches, and they held up over the eons, right? So, yeah, 100% I want people to touch it.
I knew that I wanted John to do it, and I didn't care what it was. He's the artist. I didn't want to micromanage or even talk about a concept because he's just that good.
She kept saying, I want this to be your thing, and which was a little bit intimidating, but it was real important to her that, and it was kind of affirming.
The piece has so many components to it, and it has a somewhat spiritual message. It is, I don't want to say anything because I want people to see it and decide for themselves.
Why is it important to have art at Botanica?
I just can't imagine a world without art. It's everywhere. It's in the streets, it's in the museums. It's just another piece of our community that we hope at Koch makes our community even more desirable. And I care desperately that people want to live in Wichita. Our goal is to make sure that we keep adding things that people will enjoy and make the community a stronger place.
To see the new sculpture, the restored carousel, and all of the beauty that Botanica has to offer, you can visit the gardens year-round on Mondays through Saturdays. Be sure to head over to Botanica's website to stay up to date on upcoming events. Thanks for watching The Picture. We hope this gives you a better perspective of the positive stories happening in Wichita. See you next Sunday.